Black Janitor's simple act of kindness shocked a billionaire mom, all for an autistic girl. In a quiet, bustling school hallway, a janitor quietly blew bubbles from a small bottle he'd found in his pocket. At first, it seemed like a small, innocent gesture, just a way to brighten the day for the children he passed every morning. But today was different. One little girl, with eyes wide and anxious, froze at the sound of the bell. She was autistic, and the chaos terrified her. He had no idea that one of the parents, a woman whose wealth could move mountains, was watching every moment. The janitor had worked at the prestigious private school for years, unseen and unremarkable in the eyes of most. Every day he cleaned classrooms, polished floors, and made sure the hallways smelled faintly of lemon and lavender. He knew every crack in the tiles, every squeak in the doors. But today, he noticed something unusual. A small girl sitting alone. In the corner, rocking back and forth, hands fluttering in the air, her world shrinking into fear and confusion. Her classmates ran past, laughing and shouting, oblivious to her struggle. Teachers were distracted, consumed with paperwork and meetings. The janitor felt a pang in his chest. Something inside him said, "I can't just walk by." From his coat pocket, he pulled out a tiny bottle of bubble solution he'd kept since last. Weak, unsure why he carried it. Slowly, deliberately, he dipped the wand and blew a single, shimmering bubble into the air. The girl froze, then her eyes tracked the bubble as it drifted slowly. Another bubble followed, then another, each one. A little dance of light and color. Unseen by him, a tall woman stood near the door, her expression unreadable. Her phone was in hand, recording quietly. She was a billionaire, accustomed to power and influence, and today she had come to observe her daughter without announcing her presence. She had seen dozens of caregivers and teachers come and go, but none had ever paused. None had ever noticed the delicate thread of emotion that could ease a child's fear. The bubbles floated around the girl like tiny planets in a gentle orbit. She tentatively reached out, her fingers brushing against the shimmering spheres, her lips parting in a small, delighted laugh. The janitor's heart swelled as he watched her relax. He didn't know her diagnosis at first. He only recognized the subtle signs of anxiety, the way her hands moved, the way her eyes darted. But he instinctively understood that these small moments mattered more than any instructions or rules. Other children began to notice, slowing down to watch the bubbles drift past. A teacher finally glanced over, frowning at first, then smiling when she realized the effect. The janitor continued, entirely absorbed in the joy he was creating, unaware of the woman observing him. She saw something rare, genuine compassion, an act of kindness not motivated by status, reward, or recognition. Minutes passed, and the girl's initial fear melted completely. Her breathing slowed, her eyes brightened, and for the first time that morning, she looked directly at someone with trust and curiosity. The janitor, still gently blowing bubbles, didn't see the tears forming in the billionaire mom's eyes. She had seen countless acts of generosity in her life, from donations to philanthropy, yet nothing struck her as profoundly as this simple, uncalculated gesture. Whispers began in the hallway. Parents arriving early caught glimpses of the unusual scene. A janitor performing an impromptu act of joy that no one else could have imagined. The school staff slowly gathered, hesitant to disturb, yet unable to look away. It was as though time had slowed, allowing everyone to witness a small miracle in motion. The janitor paused, taking a deep breath, finally noticing the girl's delighted laughter. She clapped her hands in wonder, bubbles bursting around her. He had no idea this tiny moment would change everything, not only for the child, but for himself, too. Suddenly, the woman stepped forward, her presence breaking the spell. The janitor froze, heart hammering. She smiled warmly, a mixture of awe and gratitude in her gaze. "That was incredible," she said softly. You have no idea what this means to her. The janitor, flustered, bowed slightly. I just wanted her to be happy, he admitted. I didn't even know that she was watching. She wasn't just watching, the woman said gently, her voice trembling slightly. I was waiting to see someone notice her, someone who would see her not as a problem, but as a person. And she gestured at him. You saw her completely. A hush fell over the hallway as others watched the interaction. The girl, sensing the warmth, approached him shyly and reached out to touch his hand. It was a silent, heartfelt connection. No words were needed. The janitor felt a wave of emotion he hadn't allowed himself to experience in years. The woman extended her hand, then paused. I want you to know, she said, that acts like yours don't go unnoticed, and sometimes they change more than one life. In that moment, the janitor realized the enormity of what had happened. He hadn't been seeking reward, recognition, or even acknowledgement. He had simply acted with empathy. Yet here was proof that genuine kindness, even in the smallest gestures, could resonate far beyond the walls of a school hallway. The girl continued to laugh, chasing bubbles with renewed delight. The janitor watched her, a smile creeping across his face, realizing that he had created a moment of peace in a world that often overlooked the smallest struggles. The billionaire mom stayed close, silently recording and taking mental notes of a lesson she had long forgotten: that wealth and influence are powerless without compassion. Later that week, the janitor received an unexpected invitation. The woman had reached out privately, offering support for his family, resources for the school's programs, and opportunities he never imagined. But more importantly, he understood that the real reward was the connection he had forged, a testament to empathy transcending race, class, and circumstance. Word of the moment spread quietly, inspiring other teachers, staff, and parents to notice the unnoticed, to act with care in moments that might seem insignificant. The girl, once anxious and withdrawn, began to smile more openly, learning that trust and joy could exist even in a world that sometimes felt overwhelming. The janitor returned to his daily routines, carrying a sense of quiet pride. He didn't need to be a hero, he just needed to see people, fully, with their fears and hopes intact. That single act of blowing bubbles had reminded everyone watching that kindness doesn't require power, status, or wealth. It only requires the courage to care. And somewhere in the back of the hallway, a billionaire mom reflected silently, asking herself, how many lives could change if we all acted with this much humanity?